to the $100 MBA Show, the business podcast that gives you the best so you could be your best when building your business with our daily 10-minute business lessons for the real world. I'm your host, your coach, your teacher, Omar Zenhom. I'm also the co-founder of the $100 MBA, a complete business training and community online. Make sure you check out our free course and our free guides over at 100mba.net. Today's episode is a must-read episode, and in our must-read episodes, I share with you a book that has impacted me as an entrepreneur. I share with you some of the insights from the book and share with you why you should read the book too. Today's must-read is Rework by Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansson. Rework is a book that has been recommended to me by many entrepreneurs, but I just got around to read it for the first time recently. And let me tell you, it's definitely a must-read. And to be quite honest, when I was reading it, I said to myself, this is the kind of book I would want to write. It's to the point, there's no fluff, and they get straight to it. It's very, very honest. I'm going to share with you some of the highlights of the book, as well as some of the things I learned in this book that I've applied immediately in our business. I can't wait to share those with you, so let's get down to business. Today's episode of the $100 MBA Show is sponsored by Braintree. If you're working on a mobile app and searching for a simple payment solution, check out Braintree. With one simple integration, you can offer your customers every way to pay, period. To learn more and for your first $50,000 in transactions completely fee-free, go to BraintreePayments.com/MBA. That's BraintreePayments.com/MBA. One of my favorite quotes that praises Rework is a quote by William C. Taylor. He's the founding editor of Fast Company. And I love this quote because it really embodies what the book is all about. And William says, the brilliance of Rework is that it inspires you to rethink everything you thought you knew about strategy, customers, and getting things done. And that is the essence of this book. It really made me rethink many facets of our business. Even if in that process of rethinking it, it's confirmation we're doing the right thing. Before I get into Rework, let me talk a little bit about the authors, Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansson. They are the founder of 37 Signals. If you haven't heard of their company, you may have heard of their products. Some of their products are HighRise, which is a customer relationship management tool, Backpack, Campfire, and of course Basecamp. And believe it or not, they also invented the open-sourced computer programming framework called Ruby on Rails. Ruby powers much of the Web 2.0 world. So these guys have really made a dent in the universe. But what's most astonishing to me about these two guys is that they've done this with a very small team, around 20 people. They don't have a huge corporation or huge office. Many of their teammates work remotely. So they've broken convention over and over again. And this is why they have the right, they have the authority to ask you to rethink things in your business. Now, Rework is a bestseller. It's a New York Times bestseller. And it's for good reason. It's a super easy read. The book is written into short chapters, and each chapter is about 2 or 3 pages. And they dedicate these 2 or 3 pages to a concept, to an idea. And even though these chapters are short, they're very, very powerful. And their influence doesn't really fade throughout the book. It's not like the first few chapters are great and the rest of the chapters are mediocre. One of my favorite chapters is the second chapter called Ignore the Real World. And they talk about that a lot of people don't start businesses because they think that this is not going to work in the real world. They're told that in the real world, people are not going to buy this, or that's not going to work. That idea is not going to actually be able to sell. But the fact of the matter is these concepts, these ideas, these rules that we made up about the real world, they're all a manifestation of ourselves. You can make new rules. You can change new things and offer innovative offers. And I love the fact that they start with this chapter because it shakes your world. It shakes the way you think about things and say, hey, maybe I've been boxing myself in and limiting myself. Now, you all know if you've listened to the show or read our blog that we're huge fans of the lean startup movement or the lean startup concept, having a minimal viable product before you start building upon that product. And they're very much the same way. And one of the points they make in one of their chapters, which is called Embrace Constraints, is very important. When you first get started, you're going to have a lot of constraints. Constraints when it comes to time, money, resources, manpower. You should use these to your advantage. And this is so true because when you're constricted, you're more creative, you're more resourceful, you're more innovative. So if you ever feel constricted, whether it's finances or time or people, know that that's an advantage. And in the book, they show you how it could be an advantage. Many of us, when we get started, we're very overwhelmed. We don't know what to work on. And often we work on details and not the most important thing of our offering, of our product or service. And this is why I love the chapter that's called Start at the Epicenter. And they give this great analogy of a hot dog stand. If you start a hot dog stand and you don't have mustard or relish or ketchup, you still can have a hot dog stand if you have what? Hot dogs, right? So you have to have hot dogs in order to have a hot dog stand. So if you focus on all these other things but don't have hot dogs, you really don't exist. So when you get started, just focus on the epicenter. Focus on the hot dogs. Have some hot dogs to sell. Then worry about the toppings. Because even if you sold hot dogs with no toppings, there's a chance that you will get buyers. People are hungry. But then later on, you can work on, hey, maybe I'll have some ketchup. Maybe I'll have some mustard. Maybe I'll add some relish. Or maybe I'll be innovative and add some other toppings. But the point here is that you got to start with the basics. Don't get overwhelmed with the details. The details can always change. And often procrastination is masked as details. So be careful of that. I know details are important, but only when it's time to decide on details. Once we've got the epicenter or the main thing that's important about your business, you got to make sure you have that covered. And I know that details are important, but you can focus on that when it's time to talk about details. First, you got to make sure that you have the most important thing covered and taken care of in your business. In other words, whatever you're promising your customers, you got to be able to deliver that main promise. Now, these mini chapters are grouped up into sections. Some of these sections are called progress, productivity, evolution, promotion, hiring, culture, damage control, and competitors. And in the section that's called competitors, they have a great chapter that's called Who Cares What They're Doing? And I just want to read the first paragraph of that chapter because it's so important. A lot of us, we get bogged down on what our competitors are doing. We get so obsessed with this that we got to stay competitive. What are they doing? I got to one-up them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And in this paragraph, you'll see why. In the end, it's not worth paying attention to the competition anyway. Why not? Because worrying about competition quickly turns into an obsession. What are they doing right now? What are they going to do next? How should we react? Every little move becomes something to be analyzed, and that's a terrible mindset. It leads to overwhelming stress and anxiety. That state of mind is bad soil for growing anything. Guys, I got more on Rework, but before that, I got to give love to today's sponsor, Vistaprint. Every business will need some sort of print material at one time or another, whether it's a flyer, a postcard, a banner, and for sure, they're going to need some business cards. And right now, Vistaprint.com is giving you 500 business cards for just $9.99. This is an exclusive offer for $100 MBA listeners. All you got to do is enter promo code MBA at checkout. With Vistaprint, you can customize text, colors, backsides, upload your logo. You can even upload your own design. Then if you want, you can upgrade to a thicker stock, a brilliant finish, or my personal favorite, the matte finish. Vistaprint is easy to use and super user-friendly. Best of all, Vistaprint's customer service is fantastic. They absolutely guarantee you'll love their products every single time. And if you want to check out our cards that we've created on Vistaprint, check out today's show notes or our resource page at 100mba.net/resources. Again, guys, we love Vistaprint and we want you to try them. So check out their special offer for listeners of the $100 MBA show. Go to Vistaprint.com and enter code MBA to get 500 business cards just starting at $9.99. That's a 50% savings over the regular site price. Again, that's Vistaprint.com, coupon code MBA. Guys, if you've been listening to a lot of these must-read episodes and you're not really sure which business book you should read, or maybe you have a hard time reading, maybe you just don't have enough time, or it's something that you haven't gotten into the habit of, then I highly recommend you start with Rework. Rework is a very easy read, it's to the point, and it really will give you a great holistic point of view on improving your business. I think Jason and David, the authors, have really done a great job with this book. And I think it's a great book to start with if you want to get the ball rolling to have a consistent reading habit. But most of all, I think the book is very actionable. You could take some of the insights that they give you and put it into action right away. And we did this with our business. The chapter Scratch Your Own Itch is all about creating a solution to a problem that you have. And that's what we did with Webinar Ninja. We were not happy with the webinar solutions that are out there, so we created our own. We wanted to use something that we wanted to use. The other chapter that I really enjoyed and found very applicable is Draw a Line in the Sand. And this is something that we have to constantly do at Webinar Ninja and the $100 MBA is define who we are and who we're not. Because you're always going to get people, even customers, people that care about you, that want certain things, that say, I would like this, I would like that, I want that option, I want this course. And you have to make sure that you don't just take on requests without finding out, is that true to what you want? Is that true to what the business is? A good example is Webinar Ninja is designed to be the easiest webinar solution out there. Now, we can bog it down with a lot of options and a lot of details, but then it doesn't become easy anymore. It becomes cluttered. It becomes confusing, and it defeats the whole mission of the actual product. So these are some of the things that we took on, and I found this book to be very, very helpful when it comes to analyzing where your business is at and how to fine-tune it. All right, guys, that wraps up today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure enjoyed teaching it. If you did enjoy today's episode or any of our episodes, we would love to hear from you with an iTunes rating and review. With an iTunes rating and review, you don't only show your support for the show, but you also help us reach new listeners just like you, as well as know what you enjoy about the show so we can keep on doing that. Here's a review from Kingsley, and Kingsley says, "This is a must-listen show, 5 stars. Omar is a true master at his craft. He delivers a concise and content-filled show. He and Nicole Baldino are great teachers, but I believe they are great students first. They put together a must-listen show. Thanks, guys." Thanks, Kingsley, for that awesome review, and thank you all for your support. All right, guys, I want to leave you with this. Sometimes it's great to read a book from people that are not that far ahead of you. Now, Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansson, they've done some amazing things, and they have a huge business, and they're incredible. But they're still a small team, and they still know how it is to be a small business owner. In other words, they're not Richard Branson. And stories from Richard Branson are very inspirational, and you can learn a lot of things from a master like Richard. But you can also learn some really important lessons from people that still remember how it is to be in your place right now. Guys, if you want to pick up Rework, you can check out today's show notes. I highly recommend it. All right, guys, I hope to see you in tomorrow's episode where we discuss 5 bootstrapping tools and tricks to look pro for less. Can't wait for that. I'll see you then. Take care.